Hey Brent, nice to see you, and well done on the title there. As we were riffing, like lots of different titles in my past.
Yes, yes. I think that's something we can all aspire to having several titles online that people need to sort of decide which one is us. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Small Talk Window, where the host and guest have a small window of time to get through with the small talk as quickly as possible and get into a very meaningful conversation around the world of work. And with me today is Ian Cook, who is President of Product Management at Visier. Welcome, Ian.
Hey Brent, nice to see you, and well done on the title there. As we were riffing, like lots of different titles in my past.
Yes, yes. I think that's something we can all aspire to having several titles online that people need to sort of decide which one is us. Anyway.
A very, very modern problem. Very modern problem.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So we're here to talk a little bit, and I want to get into this soon, but we're here to talk about people analytics and when you should start and all this kind of stuff. We're going to get into that very quickly, but first, Ian, could you just share with us just a little bit about your background and most importantly, what gets you up and energized in the morning around the world of work?
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated by how groups of people perform. Some of that started out in the backcountry in my early career, and then that morphed into actually looking at it in the corporate world. Worked across the globe initially doing consulting and sort of trying to help organizations really activate human performance, be that through leadership, be that through HR strategy. And that led me to the data challenge or the data opportunities. Like, how do we build evidence against the things we want to do that are going to really help a business perform? So 30 plus years in that space, the last almost 12 of those have been growing Visier, which is, again, a leader in that space.
You know, that is a lofty goal too, and I know that Visier is doing some really interesting stuff in the area. Let's set the stage here. So the premise of our conversation today is something that's we had a great conversation several weeks ago, millennia ago, just before HR Technology Conference in Las Vegas, but seems like it anyway. We were talking about, okay, people analytics. It seems like sort of a sophisticated thing, and it is, right? But organizations might feel like, gosh, I'm not ready to do people analytics yet. I need to get these other things under control first. And yeah, what's going on there?
So I think what's going on there, Brent, is don't confuse the creation of the insight with the use of the insight. So people analytics, yes, you need individuals who are smart and capable and understand certain dynamics of people and data in order to produce that insight. But as a business leader, it's not your job to produce the insight. It's your job to use it. It's kind of like going to a manager and saying, like, we want you to run your P&L or we want you to run your operational budget, but we're not going to give you any data to do that. You just, you don't know how to make the data or do the analysis yourself, so we'll just let you guess. And we wouldn't do that. So why do we keep people data away from the people who are managing people? So the creation of the analytics, that is a specialty. You need people, like you need smart recruiters, like you need smart compensation individuals. You need those in your team, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't use the data. Your job is to use it, not create it. As a manager, as a leader.
Absolutely right, and we're going to get to that too. Who uses the people analytics data, because it's not just for HR anymore, right? That's another thing that's going on here. But you brought up something really interesting here. Is this idea that what I'm inferring, or you all but said, but I inferred it a little bit here, is that no matter where you are as an organization, you really need to know what's going on with your people in order to know where to go next.
100%. I mean, lots of people are saying, well, generative AI, that's going to just, move the notion to technology and away from people. And we're actually of the view it's completely the opposite. If we're going to avoid all the ethical pitfalls and damage that Gen AI can bring and access the opportunities, then we really need to look at these two things together. Who does what work? How does it get done? How do we help them perform better? How do we help them have a better experience at work? Take away the drudge and give that to the tech, and give them, stuff where creativity, unique expression is actually possible. And so that's all about people. And business, people is how money is made. It's not the machine that makes the money. It's the human that built it. It's the human that drives it. It's the human that actually knows how it works.
So that's a great point, and I can see it. I can see us, kind of getting into like a several hours long conversation around that, because and just to kind of add grist to the mill here a little bit, right? If we're going to go talk about that for a little bit, is occurred to me, right? I mean, a lot of people, at some point, you see all these roles or these things all these tasks that need to be done, and we have AI out there that's getting better and better at doing it. And you think about this theoretical terminus or situation where it's all AI in the business, and at what point is it no longer business? I mean, there's no point to the business anymore, because it's just like this theoretically 100% AI run organization.
Yes.
It's a funny thing to think about.
It's the singularity of the Gen AI conversation. Like, when does there cease to be business and just become tech? But to sort of roll this back slightly, Brent, and focus maybe on a world that we know will always be delivered by humans. This whole point of having the data is so that you can make the right decisions for the business.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Tonight on NBC, Jimmy Fallon and Bozma St. John host the highly anticipated new competition show.
I hired 10 creatives from all walks of life. They will be battling it out to see who can impress the world's biggest brands.
This is a huge opportunity.
This is the battle for the next big idea.
This is not play.
We're spending millions of dollars.
I'm so excited to embark on this adventure with all of you.
May the best idea win!
On Brand with Jimmy Fallon, series premiere tonight on NBC.
With technology and with people, a simple example is a healthcare organization we work with, where they looked at volume of demand for patients, volume of nursing, turnover of nursing, the cost of nursing and the competitive cost of nursing, and we're able actually to reshape their nursing pool with the agreement of finance to save overtime, reduce absence and kind of health burden on the nurses, improve patient care. And that's what we mean about this use of data. And that's not sophisticated Gen AI stuff. There's no kind of crazy data science in there. It is good basic. We know who we have. We know what work they're doing. We know where they are. We know when they leave and when they start and what that takes. And we can make decisions from that very simply mean people get better healthcare and nurses get a better work experience. Like, that's simply, to me, is people analytics. Like, there's lots of people will throw regression at you as the first thing you need to do. We're firmly not of that view. You have some data with some solid basic practice, you can really, really elevate the performance of your business.
And you know what? All that, and in addition, in that example you shared, hey, you saved the company money.
And improved healthcare and improved work experience. Like, it's not an or. Like, and so many people see that as I make employees hurt and I make money. It's like, actually, you can make employees win and make money. It's actually the future.
Heather McGowan wrote something in Forbes about 3 years ago now, where and I'm going to mangle it, but because it's not in front of me, but one of the subheads in her article was, humans as a cost to contain, humans as a source of creating value for the organization, and seemingly those are seemingly competing things, right? Or I think a lot of business leaders conventionally or traditionally see those as competing things, but what you just described in a way kind of gets to this idea that you can look at those two things together as one thing.
Yeah, I am firmly of the view that business is not black and white, and that a smart business understands systems and understands the dynamics in the systems. And that the human set of performance in a business is a system, and you only understand it with data. Like, coming back to why is this my passion, Brent, and why am I a massive advocate for start now? Don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't wait till you understand it. Just start, because the only way to get good is to learn, is because I know how much more advantage you can build once you start to layer up that capability.
Absolutely. And just because it's part of the message, and I'll just kind of put a fine point on it here for listeners, one of the things that is really important, well, two things. So one, I really want to get to here is, because we're kind of coming up on time, because this is small talk window, so we have a small window and all that, right? But one thing is that this idea that, just to put a fine point on and reiterate it, is this: if you're an organization that might not feel like you got everything under control HCM wise, maybe your operations in that regard are kind of, a little bit chaotic. Yes, get that under control, but that doesn't mean you can't start doing people analytics now. And I think we've communicated this idea that it's actually important to do that now.
Yeah, I mean, my data is not perfect, my systems aren't under control. I've got these 2 projects to finish on my operational deployment, are the constant excuses that we hear organizations create for themselves. And what we've seen again and again, I mean, to your point, we've been at this for 12 years. We have 25 million employee records going through our systems on a daily basis, somewhere in the region of 1 million logins a month, and people actually using the data. What we know from all of that history is you get good at solving the operational problems by inspecting the data, by using it, by being really clear about what you do need and don't need, and how that's going to help you run your business. You rarely fix the operation for the operation's sake. You get the resources and the time and the permission and the buy-in from the rest of the business to fix it because you're having a strategic impact. And that doesn't come from having data, it comes from using the data. And you don't need to use it, all of it, everywhere, all at once. Like, it's not a classic HR problem where everybody has to do performance management this month. It can be a very focused, viral, solve one problem, build stakeholder buy-in, and scale from there. And so the goal is to start and learn as you go.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think one of the things you brought up there that's really important to drive home is that it isn't a classic HR problem or challenge. I think to use one of those words, and I think this segues into sort of final point that I kind of would like to get to right now in the remaining 15 seconds. Just kidding. Is this idea that how can HR? Because a lot of these people analytics, they go straight to the we'll call them the line managers. It's not the term for everybody that's a manager there, but it goes out to everybody who's leading anybody in the organization. So it's kind of democratized, or it's diffused, this data across the organization once it's interpreted. How can HR, and this is kind of where HCM is going in the maybe sort of the mid to distant future, there may not be that much operational HR left to do. This is where HR needs to be. So how can HR keep its skin in the game?
I think it kind of comes back to the why to get started, because the data will be there soon, whether you want it to be or not. Some of the data will be interpreted by bots, whether you want it to be or not. So how do you get your people, the stakeholder, the HR business partner, that connection who guides the manager, sufficiently aware of how to use the data? They don't have to make it, they just have to use it so that they can have the right conversations with management. Again, we're in a phase where we're rebuilding and redeveloping manager capability to match the future world. your HR partner is the vehicle to make that happen across the business. They need to be armed with data and armed with the ability to explain that data. And so that's how you build that systemically.
Oh, absolutely. And you made me think of something too. It's going to be iterative. You're going to need somebody that's kind of assessing how that went, how those leaders are dealing with that data, and to get continually better and better, and what better way for HR to remain sort of in that strategic role.
We have a number of clients where that's a primary use case for Visier. Like, how is our management population actually helping us activate our people strategy?
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic. This is really fascinating stuff, Ian. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Brent. It's always fun talking with yourself. All the best.